Okay, let's dive into this. We're about to unpack a really simple idea that once you really get it, can completely change where you end up in life. And the best part, it's not about making these huge, dramatic leaps. Nope, it's about a change so small, it's almost invisible. So let me ask you this. Can a single degree, just a tiny 1 degree shift, actually alter your destiny? I know, it sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, right? But the answer is a huge, resounding yes. And I'm going to show you exactly how.
I want you to imagine you're on an airplane, cruising at 30,000 feet. The pilot makes a tiny, tiny adjustment to the nose of the plane, just 1 single degree. It's so small, you don't feel a thing. Nobody on board even notices. Everything feels exactly the same.
But here's the thing. Hours later, that tiny, unnoticeable shift has compounded hour after hour. So the plane doesn't land in its intended city. It actually lands hundreds of miles away. That is the incredible power of small, consistent changes over time. And guess what? Your life works the exact same way. You see, that airplane, that's a perfect metaphor for our lives. Our daily habits, the tiny little choices we make every single day, those are our 1 degree shifts. They don't seem like they matter today or even tomorrow, but over the years, they decide whether we land in a place of success or a place of regret. So, if these tiny choices are so darn powerful, why do we always focus on the exact opposite? This brings us to a really common experience. Why are big, ambitious goals so often fail? I mean, think about New Year's resolutions. We start off with this massive burst of energy, but it almost never, ever lasts. Why is that? Well, we quit because we're looking for fireworks. We want instant, dramatic, movie montage results. We expect a total transformation overnight, and when it doesn't happen, which it never does, we just lose steam and give up. That's exactly why gyms are jam-packed in January, but practically empty by March. We just completely underestimate the quiet power of small, consistent action. And this highlights a really critical difference. You see, motivation, it's like a sugar rush. It's a powerful burst of energy that feels amazing, but it fades so fast. Habits, on the other hand, they're like daily bread. They're not exciting, they're not flashy, but they are what truly sustain you, day in and day out. So, okay, if that surge of motivation isn't the answer, then what is? Well, the solution comes from a philosophy that literally helped rebuild an entire nation from ruins after World War II. It's a Japanese philosophy called Kaizen, which basically means continuous improvement. See, after the war, Japan didn't rebuild with massive, explosive changes. They rebuilt with whispers, with tiny, daily 1% improvements in every single factory, office, and school. To an outsider, it probably looked boring, but it was absolutely unstoppable. And this idea is the very core of what we're talking about today. We call it the 1% rule. The concept is so simple. Just stop trying to change everything tomorrow. Instead, just aim to get 1% better today. That's it. But here's the crucial part, the thing you have to remember. This rule is completely impartial. It doesn't care if you're using it for good or for bad. It works just as powerfully in the negative direction as it does in the positive one. And the choice of which direction, well, that's entirely up to you. Just look at how this plays out in real life. Reading 10 pages a day? It seems so small. Watching one more episode of a show? Totally harmless, right? But you compound these choices over a year and they create two completely different people. Two completely different destinations. I mean, think of someone like Warren Buffett. His incredible wealth didn't just appear out of nowhere from one lucky investment. No way. It came from decades and decades of small, smart choices compounding over time. He calls it the snowball effect. You start with a small ball of snow, and if you just keep rolling it consistently, it becomes an avalanche. Now, let's talk about the scary side of this. Smoking one cigarette is not going to kill you today. Skipping one workout won't make you unhealthy overnight. But when you repeat those small negative choices day after day, they quietly, almost sneakily, destroy your future. So, we know the 1% rule works, both for us and against us. But it isn't free. There's a price you have to pay to make it work for you. There's a secret ingredient that turns the simple little rule into actual magic. And that price is discipline. I know, it's such a boring word. It sounds like being forced to eat your vegetables. But discipline is the glue that makes your 1% improvements stick. It's the engine that powers this entire system. You know, there's this amazing story of the Chinese bamboo tree. For the first year, you plant the seed, you water it,
and nothing happens. Year 2, 3, 4, still nothing. It feels like a complete and total waste of your time. But what you can't see is that underground, this massive root system is growing. And then, in year 5, it just explodes, shooting up 90 feet in only 6 weeks. It's just like the old analogy of the stone cutter. He hits a rock 99 times, and there's not even a crack. Then, on the 100th blow, it splits right in two. Now, was it that final hit that did all the work? Of course not. It was the accumulation of all the strikes that came before it. Your daily 1% efforts, those are the strikes. So ultimately, you have to choose your pain. There's the pain of discipline, which is light, it weighs grams. Or there's the pain of regret, which is crushing, it weighs tons. Discipline is really just trading a little bit of short-term comfort for a whole lot of long-term freedom. Okay, so this all makes sense in theory. But how do you actually apply it right now? Let's break it down into a super simple, actionable framework that you can start using the second this is over. Here's the secret. You have to stop obsessing over the giant mountain of your goal. Forget the mountain. Instead, focus only on the small, manageable stone that's right in front of you. Don't try to write a book. Just write one sentence. Don't try to get rich. Just save $1. You make the first step ridiculously, almost laughably easy. And this all boils down to one critical mindset shift. You have to stop focusing on the outcome. Instead, you have to fall in love with the process. Celebrate the act of showing up. Celebrate putting in the reps. Because if you take care of the process, I promise you, the results will eventually take care of themselves. So let's bring it all back to that airplane from the beginning. You are the pilot. Your daily habits are the controls, and they are setting your course right this very second. That 1-degree shift you make today might feel completely invisible, but in 10 years, it becomes an absolutely unstoppable force. And that leaves us with one final and really the most important question. It's not about what you're going to do tomorrow or next week. It's about right now. What tiny 1% change will you make today?